Yo, what's up, YouTube? Niwa here. Today we're gonna go over some the new Battlerites for Lucie and a couple loadouts that you can experiment with and go over. Let's see here. It's gonna be a pretty basic video. I'm not an editor or a YouTube genius, so we'll just drop some knowledge and go from there. Okay, let's look at the Battlerites. So default loadout right here. So we're gonna start with Vampiric Toxin. It heals you for 6 health over 6 seconds. I never go this right. 6 health. I mean, on paper, like if you spread toxic, it would be good, but in practice, it usually just doesn't happen. Or it's like, its passive effect isn't enough to like be noticeable. Weakening toxic is a really, really good right. You just a melee's on top of you. You just throw your M1. Reduces healing that they take and also damage that they do to you. So it's really good as just like a passive preventative measure to help you like passively win like trades and stuff. Also, like even if you're not being pressured and let's say your team are pressuring heavy like the range or some other character, if you can get your toxic M1 on there, like 20% reduced healing is gonna go a long way. Companion potion, really good skill, especially in 3s because it just heals your allies for 18, which is a lot. Usually get this if both your teammates need healing. If you're not going to get pressured because you only do 14 healing to yourself, it doesn't apply to heals on yourself. Stimulant, this is usually like a must pick overall. It's just like a passive increase to damage like throughout the whole entire match. You'll like always have Revitalize on. It's applied by your M2, your heal, so that's usually just always on. It really affects like a lot of heroes. Like just think of like Esmo for example. If you throw it on an Esmo and he's doing his M1s, like each of his M1s are doing 12% increased damage, and that hero already does just like a ton of damage overall, so just add 12% on top of that. For like Lucie example, like your 12 damage M1s are now like 14 damage M1s, it's kind of ridiculous, just like a must pick. Alacrity, barrier increases movement speed by 33%. This is a more survival mobility. Certain DPS that you have will benefit greatly for it. Let's say you have a Croak on your team and you barrier him. He goes stealth. He can hit these stuns or the stealths that he normally wouldn't be able to because of the movement speed. But mostly, it's for yourself just to like escape position better. It pairs really well with Siege Barrier, but we'll get to pairing later in the video. Blast Shield is good. When you apply the barrier, it does a slight knockback effect into 6 damage. Just 6 damage is whatever, but it's good when you're feeling pressured. So, myself, I usually only take it when if I feel like I'm gonna be pressured by 2 melee, like a Sirius, Shifu, or like basically 2 people. But you can get it if you're new to Lucie or you're learning Lucie because it's just like an easy way to also like peel pressure from yourself to survive. And then Siege Barrier, you absorb 8 additional damage, so it makes your barrier bigger and increases the duration. So this also applies to the movement speed, so that's always good. Adhesive component, Clarity Potion inflicts a 30% snare, lasting 3 seconds. It's like matchup dependent, this one. Yeah, it's pretty matchup dependent. A lot of times you're like clearing yourself or you're clearing your teammate. So, a lot of these Battlerites, you're always looking for consistency, especially if you don't know the matchups and how the different Battlerites affect the matchups. You're always looking to how do you get consistent damage, right? Or consistent use, I should say. So like Stimulant, you're always getting it. So it's just like it's positive, like a big positive, and it's like always happening, right? Where this, like you might get like the snare, or you might not, depending on how you use it. So. And there's a lot of times where maybe you want to just use a snare, but that could be like an efficient use of the cooldown as well. Potency, they nerf potency. It heals 8 and deals 8 damage. Still good, right? I take it versus quite a few matchups. I think like versus a Freya, especially. Freya's in the meta right now. She's really strong, especially in solo queue. She puts static on you. She puts shield on herself. So you just throw potency. She jumps in, she E's, you just throw potency, your clarity up in the air. It knocks her back. It takes off her shield. It takes off static on you. It heals you. It damages her. You know, so you get like so much value versus certain matchups for sure. Toxin reaction. Clarity potion consumes toxic, dealing 12 damage. So that's like this is a new, right? So you M1 a target, you throw your clarity at him, and does 12 additional damage. Yeah. So on its own, it's like it's like 12 damage. You're also using your clarity potion offensively, but I'm gonna show you guys a couple of loadouts later that'll really like just combos well into like a full damage build. Next is Chaos. Panic Flask explodes, dealing 6 area damage, inflicting a lesser panic on all nearby enemies. So the AoE gives you like a little extra range. So let's say you're playing against double range, triple ranged. It's really hard to get in and throw your Panic Flask normally, right? But with the AoE effect, like you have that extra range where you don't have to like commit yourself so hard, and you can still get that control that you really want. It also works well versus targets that are hard to hit. Let's say like a Taya. You know, she's hasted all the time. Sometimes it's hard to land that skill shots. So Chaos helps really well. Also, characters with counters, it works well. Let's say the Shifu, you think he's going to counter your panic. You throw it just slightly to the left of him so the projectile doesn't hit, but the AoE hits. And he'll counter, and then the AoE portion of the panic will CC him away, which is pretty cool. Deadly Brew just makes your Panic Flask do more damage. Good, pretty good. In the right setup. Which, well, you can see it's kind of... You can see where the loadout's going, but we'll get to that. Hysteria reduces the Panic Flask cooldown by 1.5 seconds, and then if you hit it, another 1.5. I never really get this. I mean, because a lot of times you're using your Petrify, right? Or you're not able to even use your Panic Flask on cooldown, especially in threes as like a healer, you know. So you're not always getting use of it. So it's still about that consistency. So anytime you're not, I guess, taking advantage of using your panic on CD, then it's not getting value. Swift roll, increase the movement speed by 33% for 2 seconds, and cooldown is reduced by. This is like an amazing, right? Even if it was just like roll increases movement speed by 33% for 2 seconds, it would be just like a must take for a lot of matchups. So it's usually always get this one, unless you're like never being focused, you know. So the one thing that you want to do as Lucie, especially with this, right, is making sure you're taking advantage of the movement speed. So you roll. I see a lot of Lucies, they'll roll and they'll just heal themselves right afterwards. But what I do is I roll, and then I'll take this haste thing to just like get like the best position that I can. So let's roll, take the haste, and just run like across the map, you know. Especially if you have like the barrier move speed, you can just like run away from anything and just reset the fight completely. Having the cooldown reduced by 3 seconds just means that the window to punish Lucie is really, really low, especially if the Lucie uses her cooldowns well, which is a staple of like a good Lucie play. Sticky Goo, Crippling Goo, movement speed increased to 60% from 35%. This is like, I never take this anymore. Usually with the goo is someone uses an escape ability, or their only outs, their movement abilities. You throw the goo on top of them, and then they try to get out, and then you push them back in clarity with clarity potion. So when this is on a round by itself, it was like the one to pick, but now that you have so many choices, it's just, you never really pick it. Agility increases movement speed by 10%. This is a matchup dependent, like really matchup dependent, really like getting down in the weeds. Like I would take this versus a Varesh just to like be able to dodge the shatters. Like you don't think 10% movement speed is that much, but sometimes, you know, you're trying to dodge that shatter by Varesh when you have like the purple debuff on you, and it's like you're just like a hair away from getting out of the AoE. So this like just helps you move out of the AoEs. Sirius as well, you know, moving out of The petrifies, just little stuff like that. Certain matchups. So a lot of these Battlerites, they're all about matchups and the little intricacies in the flowcharts between different characters. So you won't really notice those until you play a lot. So especially with Lucie, because Lucie's all about her CDs. If you can manage your CDs properly, master the flowcharts and the matchups, be super efficient in your barrier usage, then you can get a little more out of like the Battleright choices. Okay. So I have 3 different builds. I think 2 of them you can kind of just pick in the different situations, and the Teo way is kind of just like what I picked when I played against Teo. It was just more competitive for scrims, so I don't know how much that'll apply to you guys or not. All right, so the first loadout I have is my damage loadout. Uh, Basically, I take this when I'm playing like solo queue. I'm playing. I think you could even take it in twos. I don't really play twos that much anymore, but and then also like if I'm playing competitive or scrims, and there's only one threat, one backline threat. So let's say you're playing against maybe like a Paloma Vresh, Shifu, or like a Shifu Iva. It's where that Shifu or that melee player is just trying to be in your backline in 1v2. Because what ends up happening is you just land your panic flask. That's all you have to do when you have an insane combo potential damage. So what I take stimulant, just that 12% damage increase, swift roll just for survivability, deadly brew for the panic flask deals 10 bonus damage, toxin for the 12 damage on clarity pot, and then weakening toxic. So what the combo goes is someone comes in, you land your panic, that's 22 damage on the panic. Ooh, I think it's even more with stimulant. My math isn't the greatest. But we'll just, without even thinking about stimulant, so add 12% damage to this combo. It's 22 damage, panic flask. You M1 once, that's 12 damage. Uh, you can deadly inject if you have the energy, which is 24 after the pop, and then you time your clarity potion to land right when the panic's landing or right when the deadly's gonna pop, right? Which is another 12. So it's just insane burst. So what happens is, especially with the old Lucie, what happened is you just had even trades, right? The melee like try to 1v1 you, and you would use your CDs to like block their damage, but you wouldn't like be able to damage them or pressure them back. With this combo, like you land your panic, and that melee player can't like go on you anymore, right? They have to retreat. They have to go heal. They have to get a CD from their healer because you just put out insane damage. I think weakening toxic is the one you could probably change around here. I think just, especially in twos, like it's so easy to get the weakening toxic on. But let's say we wanted to just switch this for something. Um, I mean, potency. Potency, especially if we're talking about damage, right? Let's say that Shifu has Renew on him from older. So you just add 8 damage to that combo. So you can just get insane damage with this. That's sick. I like it. This is more of the survivability loadout. This would be, especially if you're new to Lucie or just starting out and you're having trouble surviving. So you're not even thinking about matchups. You're just thinking about, why am I dying? Why is people just running at me and I'm dying? This will help you, for the most part, survive. Obviously, swift roll. One tip I can give you for new Lucie, especially if 2 people are just running at you the whole time, just stay on your mount. Stay on your mount super early and wait for them to burn CDs. Wait for them to go on your teammates, and then if they go on your teammate, then you can use all your abilities, to help your teammate out. If they try to go on you, then you just run away, and then you're up cooldowns, which just makes it a lot easier. But swift roll, just good for surviving. Just make sure you're taking advantage of the movement speed. Blast shield, just use it when they go on you to knock them away. Blast shield plus alacrity obviously gives you the move speed, knock them away, get the movement speed. You could also, if it's just one person on you, you could change blast shield for siege barrier. Blast shield does have its matchup advantages as well. Let's say Shifu ults you, press blast shield, it knocks them away. They can't do that anymore. A series jumps on you, you blast shield, they miss their M1. You know, so that's the kind of stuff that you'll find with practice. But yeah, I think Siege Burial just kind of synergizes well with Alacrity. So if you want to go that way, it's a little less thinking as well, especially when you're trying to learn so much stuff. If you just extra shield and extra duration, you know, it will always help. So, this is the survival build, but I still take stimulant just because it's so good. But let's say that you still need help surviving. You can replace it with man. I mean, you can't go blast here, or you can't go this. I mean, you can get adhesive component, I guess, for that extra snare. If you're having a lot of problems. But I would just keep stimulant myself. Agility isn't a must pick. It's just like nice to have. 10% isn't that much, but you can notice it in certain matchups. I would probably just go the panic flask, because you know, sometimes surviving isn't just about running away. Sometimes it's about putting out pressure yourself. So if you put out damage, then they can't just sit there and do damage to you at the same time. Okay. And then my third loadout is just kind of super matchup dependent. Like, I wouldn't recommend this unless you know, you really have understanding of the matchup. This is versus Taya. So Taya does a wind bomb. I throw chaos, so she can't get into a wind bomb. I throw adhesive components, so she can't get into a wind bomb. I have to roll away, stimulant, and then agility to get out of the wind bomb. You know, it's pretty simple, but you know, it's little things like that. That's why the new system is pretty cool. So yeah, this is my first original YouTube content. If you have any questions, any recommendations, I can't edit, so you won't see any fancy editing or anything like that. Maybe you'll see a sick thumbnail. I'm gonna do all the supports. So this is Lucie, the first one. We have a bunch of other ones to do, so if you guys want to leave a comment, make sure you subscribe, leave a comment and tell me what support you guys want to see next. All right, guys, and thanks for watching. I'll see you later.